and you're familiar with this kind of work as well, Johnny.
Yep.
The most dangerous moves that were made in the offseason. Now, I thought that this was a no-brainer when I saw the headline. I kind of skipped down to the Texans because I'm like, oh, yeah, I know what this one is. They did, after all, trade for Stephon Diggs.
Yes.
So let me get down to the Texans section where they tell me what I already know, and that's that Stephon Diggs is the most dangerous move.
And you get down there, and
it's not. It's not. And it made me think, it's not as an easy answer as I thought it was. And I'd like to get your thoughts on it. They go with, instead of Stephon Diggs, which I assumed, they go with Danielle Hunter.
Ooh.
Which I like.
Ooh.
I like as a choice. I obviously like the signing. Love him as a player. Really excited to see what that's going to look like. Obviously, defensive coach and DeMeco Ryans. Just everything kind of coming together there. Will Anderson, defensive rookie of the year on the other side. Everything coming together there. I really want to see what it looks like. I know there are some questions about, what the interior is going to look like because the starters there are no longer there from last year.
Yeah.
So it's going to look different. I don't know if it's going to be a good different or a bad different, but the additions that they made, when you talk about most dangerous additions, Danielle Hunter certainly has to be up there, even if I wanted to assume it was Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I think from a Diggs standpoint, I think it's still pretty dangerous. But maybe it's muted a little bit by a healthy Tank Dell and Nico Collins. Maybe that's the way they're looking at it, I guess. I don't know. Danielle Hunter is...
Maybe they just didn't want to go with the obvious.
So, yeah, we were doing... That was right at the beginning of free agency. And so I remember I was sitting right over there. Byron remembers this because Byron was the one who poked his head and told me. I was on the other side. I was getting ready for the show. It was about 5:30. We go on at 6. And Byron walks in and goes, dude, we got Hunter. Like, what? We did what? And he goes, we got Danielle Hunter.
Yeah.
And, Byron's a good dude. Like, I love Byron. Byron's great. He does Texans All Access 6 to 7. You're the man. I'm like, he's FOS, man. There ain't no way. Now I go on Twitter and, there it is. We just signed Danielle Hunter? Like, wait, what? And then my wheels start turning because I knew at that point we had already lost Grenard. Now we're bringing in one of the better pass rushers, and I immediately I was like, all right, pick a game. I was like, all right, Bengals. Vikings against the Bengals. And I'm watching Danielle Hunter do work, and Brandon, he's spinning and chopping and ripping. Like, he's got a repertoire of moves that, it's like, who's the character that Kyrie Irving plays? Uncle Drew.
Oh, yeah.
He's like Uncle Drew. He's got all these different moves that you use, and you see he's got half spins and full spins and chopping and moving inside. And he is after Jake Browning all game. He is just terrorizing him. And I was like, we just signed him opposite of Will?
Yeah.
Ooh. So I can see that. I'll throw you an honorable mention one. And it really got me thinking about this once I was able to actually see him out at practice, and that's Joe Mixon. I think we're going to look at the Joe Mixon signing as long as Joe stays healthy in December and January and go, God dang, where would we be without Joe Mixon? First play they ran out of team in OTAs. Because I was kind of watching everybody else. I don't really watch running backs much. I'll watch them, but I was watching the receivers do some work, watching the defense. And then they get together for team, and they run a zone play. And all of a sudden, I'm at an angle where I can see how fast he's actually moving. And I'm like, whoa. And this is no disrespect meant to any running back that has come before Joe Mixon for the Texans the last 4 or 5 years, dating back to Lamar Miller. But I'm like, I have not seen a Texans running back hit a hole like that. And the thing about it is, I'm not just talking about without pads. Like, I would watch the guys that were before Joe Mixon, not even without pads, hit a hole even close to as fast as Joe Mixon was hitting it. And I just thought, whoa, that's going to make a big difference in this offense, how fast he hits things. And I'm telling you, you're going to look up and go, man, this offensive line is doing a whole hell of a lot better with Joe Mixon back there. Yeah, you know why? Because they made space for the running backs last year early on. It wasn't being taken advantage of. Backs weren't getting to the hole fast enough. Finally, when Motor gets in there, Motor's quick enough to get to the hole, and you could create a small hole, and those guys would take advantage of it. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the offensive line was tremendous last year. I'm not going to tell you that. But They weren't as bad as a lot of people thought they were at the beginning of the year in the run game. They got worked against a few teams. Obviously, the Bucs, they couldn't block anybody, and they just decided, you know what, screw it, let's throw it. And they threw it for 470, so that was a good move. I think with Joe Mixon, his ability to hit a hole as fast as he does and as quickly and as explosively as he does and get to the second level is going to show everybody here what a run game looks like. And you're going to go, where has this been? I got a feeling as long as he's healthy, you're going to see that. And I think another beneficiary of that will be Dameon Pierce, who then, as Joe Mixon wears down the defense, here comes a fresh Dameon Pierce. Now, is he going to be Pierce of 2022? I don't know. But if he can just get comfortable in his skin enough to get a few carries in, on some plays that he likes, and then catch the ball to the backfield and give them positive impact in the passing game, that's fine by me. But to me, Joe Mixon's the one that really, I think, can change the entire complexion of this offense to really being dangerous. You throw the ball a lot, teams can do a lot of different things. But if you're throwing it well, and oh, by the way, Mixon is picking up 85 to 100 a game. And now you can't get locked in on their personnel groupings because, okay, we know if they come out 12 personnel, well, they're just going to throw the ball. If you're not running it, they'll just play it a pass. But if you're running the ball well and you come out 12 personnel with, say, Brev and Dalton or Dalton and Kate Stover, all of a sudden you got to respect that. Like, this run play is pass play. I'm not sure. Should we go base? You go base. CJ checks to, you got a linebacker on Dalton? I'm going to eat that up. He checks the play, go to Dalton, away you go. But if you know the run game, who cares if you're in 12 personnel or 11 personnel or 13 personnel? It doesn't matter because they're just going to play the pass. They're going to play nickel or big nickel or play dime and just wait for you to throw the football because they're not going to respect you. But all of a sudden, Joe Mixon comes in there, and now your running game is competent. Now you're dangerous.
See,
and that's all it's got to be.
I feel like Joe Mixon, that addition gets overlooked because of
big time
the way we discuss running backs and the fact that he is now an experienced running back. Like, Joe Mixon has been good in the NFL for a while now. Mm-hmm. And I think that once a guy has some tread on the tires or, has at least has a little mileage on him, we do this thing of, oh, he's an aging running back or he's an older running back, or we somewhat take for granted what that running back actually offers or brings to the table. But what I don't feel like should be overlooked here is the upgrade in skill, explosiveness, and just the caliber of running back, to your earlier point about, hey, we haven't really seen anything like this in years. I tell you, nothing close to it. Like that, it should not be overlooked how great of a difference it is to go from what it was, no disrespect to what it was, but to go from that to what it is now. The interesting thing about Danielle Hunter that you mentioned in those moves, because, look, I got a good look at Hunter at J.J. Watt's charity softball classic a few weeks back. Yeah. And the dude, on top of the repertoire that you're talking about, dude is like just built,
Like his shoulders – I mean, his shoulders are as wide as this room.
Yeah, it was wild. It
was impressive. When he walked in the studio, and I was like, you know me, I size. This is what I do. I size dudes up, and I'm like, So he walked in the studio. From a distance, I was like, skinny, maybe no. He gets a little bit closer to me. I'm like,
nah, not at all.
Dang.
Not at all.
His shoulders. What are these called? These delts. I mean, they're so huge. I mean, he could shake my hand from where you're sitting, and I'm like, how do you do? Like, He's built freaky. Like, those guys will put on Twitter, they're high school players and they're 6'1", 215, and we're like, no, we've seen you before. No, built different. No. He's built different.
For sure.
He's built different. That's built different. You're 6'1", 215. You're built nicely, but you're not built different. He is.
Yeah. And then on top of that, the moves that you talk about, the repertoire.
Oh, my God.
We'll talk later in the show about a veteran-rookie pairing that I'm really excited about for the Texans. Mm-hmm. But if I was going to go veteran second-year player pairing, I'm really intrigued by what Will Anderson could potentially learn, not just from the coaching that he already has that's really good, but also bringing Danielle Hunter into the mix. Of course, Danico Autry into the mix as well. Like, all of these accomplished veterans to come in, and we know how Will is, right? He absorbs like a sponge, the humility. Like, he's going to take it all in for what it's worth. I think that's going to be excellent. He's John Harris. I'm Brandon Scott.